The Philadelphia 76 medical bills are starting to pile up as we already have the injury reports filing in from Shams, and it revolves around everyone's favorite 76ers player, Paul George, who underwent a successful arthroscopic procedure on his left knee Monday to treat an injury during a recent workout. George will now begin a rehab program and be reevaluated prior to the start of training camp, and I just sunk a little bit, man, because we heard the words reevaluated, and this is not going to end well, man. I just have a really bad feeling about this, to be 100% honest. Is there not a lot to talk about right now? Yes. Or is everyone probably overreacting? Yes. But with the 76ers, I think it's okay to be doing some overreacting given the history of this franchise and injuries and star players getting injured constantly, although I don't think you could really call Paul George a star player at this point in his career. He still contributes a big portion of the payroll and is expected to play a key role in the Sixers championship aspirations. And having this injury already, it's like you're already seeing the storm coming. You know it's going to happen. You just hope it passes through, but it's not going to, man. You can just see the dark clouds. There's always this dark cloud hovering over this organization. No matter really, we could talk all we want about Daryl Morey and his decision-making with the roster, if he should have kept some guys over other ones, if he should have signed this player, traded for this player, dumped off of this salary, not give out this salary. Look, it does not matter whatsoever what Daryl Morey does with the roster if all of the top players on this team are getting hurt and not seeing any time on the court. I mean, Joel Embiid, Paul George, and Tyrese Maxey, they are the core of this team. They need to be on the court in order for them to win. That's, of course, not really anything crazy to say whatsoever, because you need your best players to play in order to win a championship, and that is what has been so frustrating about the 76ers in the Joel Embiid era. It is the fact that how can we expect a team to win a championship when their best player just does not play basketball? I think, we have been getting some optimistic news about Embiid. And, actually, no, we haven't, because recently they said that he still has not returned to on-court activities. We have no idea what's going on with Embiid. Apparently, it was the same doctor who fixed up his knee. They did the same thing with Paul George, and I think he was the miracle doctor who fixed Kawhi Leonard. So, at least we have that. You know what I mean? Like with Kawhi, he was playing he was playing well after his surgery. And if Embiid and Paul George can really get healthy, I think the Sixers, they have a serious chance to compete in the Eastern Conference, given how weak the conference has become with Indiana and Boston pretty much being ruled out for next season. You kind of just have the Knicks and the Cavaliers. That's pretty much it. The Bucks, they are a disaster, and the Magic. You got the Magic too. Who really knows with the Magic? The Orlando Magic, they have also had some horrible injury luck, but we're talking about the Sixers right now. We're talking about the Sixers and the fact that the Philadelphia 76ers, they are just flat out cursed, and Sixers fans are not allowed to have any fun. VJ Edgecombe got injured during Summer League. And apparently, at first it was a thumb contusion, and then Daryl Morey was in a press conference the other day saying it was like a wrist sprain, just lying all over the place, trying to cover things up. I just don't understand why this organization, how could you be this good at being incompetent and vague about literally everything when it comes to actual, team operations that matter, that fans actually care about? Just the fact that they are just unclear all the time, when all these other organizations, they have no problem with getting these injuries diagnosed and saying, just immediately posting on X, oh, well, Rudy Gobert, he'll be out. Because I think I remember, the Minnesota Timberwolves, they did that immediately with a guy who got injured or something, and they say he'll be out for this long or whatever. I don't know what's up with the Philadelphia 76ers and them just being so bad at this. But at this point too, it's just bad luck. It really is just bad luck. We could say that the Paul George signing, let me know in the comments section down below, was this the worst move that Daryl Morey ever made in his entire career? Now, I understand that it was back then, let's not act like we weren't in 100% full support of the Paul George signing. There were no other good options in that free agency class. It was a terrible free agency class. and you pretty much had to go with Paul George. He was the best option. He played over 70 games that prior season and had an all-star level year his last year with the Clippers, and it made sense, man, because he was a wing player, a 3-and-D wing player that can give it to you on both sides of the ball. And we have these words again, if healthy. If the 76ers were healthy, they could be a real contender in the Eastern Conference. I mean, look, we can talk all we want about how deep the roster is and, hey, we don't have a true power forward or whatever. Look, I am worried. I'm more worried about Joel Embiid being healthy first and foremost rather than not having a true power forward, because you need Embiid to be healthy before you can talk about any of these other issues. None of these other issues, whether it's Nick Nurse, or whatever, the power forward position, the bench or whatever, that you have to throw that all out the window before you consider Joel Embiid, in his health situation. Like, it just does not matter whatsoever what this team does. Embiid, he has to be healthy for them to win anything, because Joel Embiid is the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, I know fans have, increasingly become more frustrated with Embiid and his injury problems and his lack of commitment and some stuff he says and whatever. Look, Embiid, man, when he is healthy, man, he is one of the best players I've ever watched. He's a bona fide top 5, top 3 player in the NBA, and he is way too valuable for this organization. I mean, let's not remember, man, a couple of years ago, he was winning. He won MVP, averaging, 32 points per game on crazy efficiency, doing it on both sides of the ball, and you need Joel Embiid to be healthy. That's my point, man. You need this team to get healthy, because once they're healthy, then we can finally treat them as a contender, because on paper, at least, the 76ers are a contender. You got Embiid, Paul George, hopefully, who comes back and has a better year. Now, last season, the expectations for Paul George, they really weren't that high. I mean, all really anybody was demanding was that Paul George be a better version of Tobias Harris. The problem with Tobias Harris was that he was a terrible shooter. And he wasn't a terrible shooter, but he was not good enough as a shooter. He lacked volume, and he lacked any sort of consistency. I mean, I never really saw Tobias Harris make a clutch three-pointer in my entire time watching him play in a 76ers uniform. He just could not get enough shots up, and teams were sagging off of him. They did not care about him at all as a scoring threat. Now, hopefully you were going to get that in Paul George, but you didn't. He just flat out sucked, whether it was him being washed or him being injured. I don't know how this is going to pan out when we're doing this already. It's July. It's mid-July, and we're already getting this injury news. Now, at least it was a successful procedure or successful surgery, and I guess if he can just get some time to chill out a little bit, and then training camp starts, and then Embiid at the same time, their timelines match, and they'll be ready to go for the team to ramp up together as the season starts, that's cool or whatever. But I cannot have any faith in this at all, because number one, it's the 76ers. It's the Philadelphia 76ers. They can't do anything right. Seems that nothing right really happens to them. I mean, yeah, you drafted Maxey, you drafted McCain, you drafted Edgecombe. You have your core for the future, but we're trying to win now. And we made all these nice additions. Jabari Walker, Trendon Watford. It was nice. All of that was nice stuff, but nothing truly groundbreaking. What would be groundbreaking for this team is Joel Embiid to play 70 games or more, and that is just a fantasy at this point in his career. I just don't know how next season really is going to pan out. That's something with the Sixers we cannot judge. We can talk all we want about what is on paper, what this roster could be, but we don't know what it's going to be because the injury concerns are that high. And speaking of injury concerns, Quentin Grimes. Now, Quentin Grimes, not talking about him like being injury prone or anything. I'm just thinking about the fact that I think the reason why he's holding out is because he feels like he deserves a contract worthy of a player who should be getting more touches on the court, again, more shots up, as he was really impressive last season. Now, of course, the Sixers, they were horrible for the entire season. Yeah, Quentin Grimes, he was one of those bright spots for past the trade deadline. He was balling out with nobody around him. Yeah, the Sixers, they barely won any games, but Quentin Grimes, he was really impressive, man, just showing a lot of flashes as a true 3-level scorer and a guy who you could really appreciate having on your team, someone who could score the rock and also defend at a high level as well. Just the perfect backcourt pairing next to Tyrese Maxey is Quentin Grimes, and I expect Quentin Grimes, if he's brought back, he's probably going to be brought back. It's a situation of if not when at this point, because there's really no market for him right now. And the Sixers, he's a restricted free agent. They can bring him back pretty much no matter what at this point. If Quentin Grimes can come back and really be a starting shooting guard next to Tyrese Maxey, I think that's awesome. And what will maybe entice him a little bit more to get a deal done is if he considers that Joel Embiid and Paul George, guys who are high on the pecking order, aren't going to be playing all the time. And that means that Quentin Grimes is going to be getting more shot attempts, and maybe his agency will consider that. Maybe the Sixers can get a deal done. But look, man, I just this is not going to end well. I don't know. I don't know, man. Paul George getting injured already during a workout. I mean, it's the most 76ers thing ever, just out of nowhere, out of the blue, random. And look, Markelle Fultz, dude, he had one of the ugliest jump shots after his, thoracic outlet syndrome, made Michael Kidd-Gilchrist's jump shot look like Nick Batum's. If you know, you know. Hopefully Tyrese Maxey, Jerry McCain, and VJ Edgecombe, they can really develop next year. I don't really expect Edgecombe to really take this team over the top with Embiid and Paul George gone. I think you need those guys on the floor consistently to get a high seeding in the Eastern Conference, get that home court advantage, and maybe make a conference finals for once and make it NBA finals, because that's what the Sixers are trying to do. And I really ran out of things to say, man. I don't know. I already said that 80 billion times, but I'm just going to end it here. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you're new around here. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.